WWE, sometimes a storyline on TV gets changed due to backstage influence. However, sometimes real-life incidents can force WWE to change its stories. Today, we'll be looking at 10 such incidents that led to WWE changing a storyline. Whether it was for good or not, you'll be the judge of that. The real-life relationship and ensuing breakup between Matt Hardy and Lita, as well as Lita's affair with fellow WWE superstar Edge, became a major storyline for WWE in the mid-2000s, and quickly integrated it into programming from scandal to over-the-top wrestling action. Matt Hardy had been in a real-life relationship with Lita around 1999, and this was about 2005. And as Hardy realized that Lita may have been having an affair with Edge, things went south for him. WWE fans also became aware of the situation online, which was a relatively new thing at the time. And as a result, Edge and Lita's on-screen pairing received a lot of heel heat. A few months later, their feud ended in a ladder match between Hardy and Edge. Edge was able to get the win. In an interview years later, Edge went on the record with Peter Rosenberg saying that even though there was real-life animosity, they were able to take advantage of it for their benefit in the storyline. Over the years, all parties involved in the love triangle have overcome their real-life differences. In 2007, Mr. McMahon left an episode of Monday Night Raw, and when he got into his limousine, it blew up, and Vince, Mr. McMahon, his character, was supposedly dead. Unfortunately, a short time after the story, there was nowhere for it to go because of the real-life Chris Benoit tragedy that occurred. And when details of the incident were released, the company felt it was right to drop the entire angle, so they brought him back immediately. It's hard to tell where they were going with it, but it was good to see that they dropped it due to the real-life circumstances. In 2021, Lacey Evans, the sweet Southern belle, was involved in a heated rivalry with Charlotte Flair on Monday Night Raw. Surprisingly, Charlotte's father, the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair, aligned himself with Lacey as an on-screen lover. The entire feud was based on how Lacey was using Charlotte's father against her. However, during one episode of Raw, Lacey announced to the WWE fanbase that she could not fight Charlotte in the ring because she was pregnant. It implied during the entire revelation that Ric Flair was the father. And of course, the Ric Flair aspect of the announcement only existed in kayfabe, but reports did indicate that Lacey Evans was indeed having a child. Like several other entries on this list, Lacey Evans' pregnancy announcement came across as more silly than really offensive. Some fans thought it was entertaining, though, for a little bit. Batista was one of the biggest stars of WWE in the past, and he's gone on to become a very successful movie star outside of the wrestling business. But you might be glad to note that he got away from a rumored storyline. In 2006, he was on a team with Mysterio, was challenging Eminem for the tag team titles. In an attempt to keep the titles on her team, the conniving Melina would try to seduce Batista, to which he would reply, "Thank you," and go on to win the match. Unfortunately, the story required her to come out and hold a press conference that claimed that Batista, quote, assaulted her, but Batista's tricep injury occurred before the whole storyline could play out any further, which saved everyone from doing that entire thing. When Muhammad Hassan made his WWE debut in 2004, his controversial character gained some supporters and detractors within the WWE fanbase. The company also seemed keen on pushing him to the main event level. Unfortunately, the plan fell apart due to the London bombings that occurred in 2005. The WWE felt it was too insensitive to have such a character on TV after the tragedy, especially considering an angle that took place in which The Undertaker was choked out by men in black masks and black outfits on an episode of SmackDown just a few days before the terror attack took place. As a result, after getting pressured by their UPN TV partners in the United States, Hassan's character was forced to be off of television and was eventually released. Mr. Kennedy looked like he was on the path to becoming a megastar in WWE, and management had plans to do just that. The illegitimate son of Mr. McMahon storyline was reportedly going to be announced in 2006, but it never materialized. Just before it was set to culminate, Kennedy was suspended for violating WWE's wellness policy and having him lose the Money in the Bank briefcase due to an untimely injury. It's a clear sign that the company didn't have faith in him. And as we know now, WWE went with Hornswoggle in that infamous Mr. McMahon storyline, and we'd much prefer the idea of Mr. Kennedy in that spot. But issues that he had backstage with Randy Orton also complicated the entire situation. Eventually, Kennedy was let go. Cena has a fair bit of pull backstage, or at least people hold him in high regard. And whether WWE or Cena wants to admit it, in 2007, he did have a relationship with Mickie James, fellow WWE superstar. But apparently, she also had some type of relationship with fellow Raw superstar Kenny Dykstra. And for whatever reason, Kenny Kenny Dykstra was moved to SmackDown. Not exactly a storyline change, but certainly something that affected someone's career. CM Punk, one of the greatest modern names in WWE, was very frustrated and injured at the time of the Royal Rumble in 2014, and he simply walked away. This flipped the entire path for that year's WrestleMania on its head. The plan was to have Triple H face CM Punk, with Orton versus Batista for the main event. But who was the big superstar in WWE at the time? The surging man behind the Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan. WWE, with Punk not there, opted to go with Daniel Bryan versus Triple H and then add him to the Orton-Batista main event. So if Punk didn't leave, we wouldn't have gotten Yeselmania. Had it not been for a fan sneaking a camcorder into Madison Square Garden one fateful evening in May of 1996, the business as we know it may have been very different. WWE was gearing up for the King of the Ring, and they were getting ready to crown the up-and-coming Triple H as their next king, and also bid farewell to Kevin Nash Diesel and Scott Hall Razor Ramon, who were then jumping to rival company WCW. But the curtain call, which saw Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels raising each other's hands, and WWE officials backstage were not happy. Hunter was the one who was punished, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was booked to win the tournament. Austin 316 was the promo he cut after winning the crown, and the entire wrestling landscape may have been completely different if the lines of kayfabe weren't blurred. The plan was for Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, and it was all canceled primarily due to Roman Reigns' health concerns at the time. Originally scheduled for WrestleMania 36 in 2020, Reigns withdrew from the event because he was immune compromised due to his previous battle with leukemia. WWE respected his decision for prioritizing his health and safety concerns in the very early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. The match was ultimately never rescheduled, and Goldberg went on to face Braun Strowman instead. Strowman went on to win the WWE Universal Championship, and a few months later at SummerSlam 2020, Roman shocked the world when he returned with his new heel character, the Tribal Chief, which became an instant hit, a win-win situation when you really look at it in retrospect.